Look, I get it. No one tells you what that transition is going to look like once you go from child to adulthood. And I'm not just talking about growing up, getting older, like day by day, year by year. I'm talking about that mental, emotional, psychological growth and evolution that happens from when you're a child to as you become an adult. I went to a parade yesterday and I lost my voice, kind of. But I wanted to make this video today because this was really on my mind and it's something that I know I tend to struggle with. So, hi, if you're new here, my name is Nay, and today we're going to be talking about really why people get stuck in life and why they stagnate and what you can do to make sure it doesn't happen to you. As I've gone through my journey to personal development, I always wanted something outside of me to kind of reinforce the steps I'm taking. Always look to other things to more or less validate me that I'm on the right track. And I always like to try and figure out, why do I do that? Because I don't want to be the type of person that is constantly seeking external validation. And I mean, in group settings and team settings, it is good to have that feedback, but I don't want to live my life constantly searching for that kind of feedback and tying my sense of worth to that kind of feedback. So, and if you're watching this, probably neither do you. And so what I realize is when we grow up, that's where it comes from. As a child, you're constantly looking to the people around you to help shape your idea of the world and what's going on and everything. And as you go through school, this is also reinforced. So you're constantly looking to other people to tell you if you're doing well, if you're not doing well, what's going on. So once you're out of the school setting and you're out of college, if you choose to go to college, there's no one else that's going to tell you that. Like, you may have a boss that may be really hands-on or micromanage, but no one's really going to tell you, this is what you need to do. This is the steps you need to take day by day. And I feel as though a lot of people, including myself, sometimes I get stuck in this trap where I'm constantly researching on YouTube, watching these videos that are really just telling me the same things that I need to know, but I feel productive. I feel like I'm gaining something by constantly watching the same types of videos telling me the same thing. Sometimes I get frustrated watching content because I'm like, this is not really what I want to hear. This is not what I'm looking for right now. But it's that looking for permission, looking for someone to tell you what to do. And like that habit, it's so unconscious that it's the hardest habit to break, because all your life up until you become an adult and you're on your own, someone's telling you what to do, how to breathe, how to look, what's good, what's bad, and then you become an adult and there's nobody to tell you that. It seems so simple, but to me, when I realized this was part of my issue with why I wasn't achieving my goals, why I wasn't taking action the way I wanted to in my mind, it came down to this. Because day in, day to day, hour by hour, growing up, for 18 years, you have somebody telling you what to do, where to be, what time it is to eat, all of that. So when you're on your own and you basically make your life, there's no one doing that. So day to day, it'd be hard to maintain the momentum that I would build because there's no one keeping me to a certain structure other than myself. And it was old habits that I was falling back on. And James Clear has a great quote regarding that, and I believe it goes something like this: where we don't rise to the level of our expectations, we fall to the level of our training. And by training in this context, I'm using that in the habits that we're basically adopted just growing up, like just from you were born to becoming adult. Those kind of habits that are more inherent in your personality. And so I think one thing that a lot of people don't realize when they get stuck and they get stagnant in whatever pursuit they have, it's because it's gotten hard, or you're at a point in your journey where you're not really sure what the right next move is. Part of you subconsciously is waiting for someone to tell you what to do, give you permission to go with your gut, more or less just verbally articulate that they support you. And so I think it would be incredibly powerful if more people understood that's why they don't really go after their goals. That's why they drag their feet when it comes to pursuing their goals. And that's just, no one's going to give you permission. No one's going to tell you what your day to day should look like. No one's going to tell you what your routine should be. And even if they do, everything is super individual, because what you like, what works for you, may not work for me, may not work for the next person. So be wary of the people that, unless they're a coach and they're working one-on-one with you, people that try and generalize and make these blanket statements about what works, what shouldn't work, habits you should adopt, which success has a framework, and all successful people will tell you exactly what they did to get there, how hard they had to work, how hard they had to grind, until things finally started to get to the point where it became a self-fulfilling prophecy, more or less. And so some of it is success leaves its own breadcrumbs, and it's up to you to follow those breadcrumbs, but while also creating a path of your own. And outside of that, and outside of working with a coach, there's no one that's going to tell you this is what your day should look like. This is what you need to be doing at 10 o'clock, at 12 o'clock, at 11 o'clock. And I feel as though that's why a lot of people get stuck working for someone, is because there's that security of knowing what you're going to do and having someone hold you accountable should you forget, should you get lazy, or anything like that. And what I'm really working on is cultivating that sense of accountability within myself. I don't want to have to rely on somebody to tell me what to do, where to be, what time to do things. I want to build that trust in myself to where I can dictate that to myself. That is definitely a skill that you have to acquire, because for so long you've been operating in one type of way, doing things a certain type of way. So creating those new neural connections and new habits to be in alignment with the new way you want to do things is going to take some time. You may fall back into your old habits once or twice, but it's that consistently pursuing that new way of being that's really what's going to take you from one level to the next. And so if you're watching this and you feel like you've been stagnant, you feel like life's just been happening to you, that you lost control a long time ago, what I want to challenge you to do is really think about, what are you waiting for? Whose permission are you waiting for? Why are you waiting for someone to tell you what to do, what your perfect routine should be, what your average day should look like, what your goals should be? Now, it's perfectly okay to get ideas from people and see, oh, I like what they're doing in this respect, I like what they're doing with that respect, and learn from them. But for you to create the life that you want, you have to decide what that looks like for you. So that includes deciding what you want to achieve, what you want to experience, what you want to be doing on an average day, including the boring, sucky stuff. Because not every day is going to be, all highs. You're going to have the boring stuff that just needs to get done, that only you can do. You're going to have, until you can outsource that too, and you're making enough money, you're big enough where you have a bigger team around you, and you can focus on the key things that you need to do to drive your business, your goals, whatever, forward. If you're not at that point in your life, you need to decide, okay, what kind of things do I want to do? What kind of things would make me feel good? What kind of things would inspire me to have an impact on others, or allow me to have an impact on others and be helpful in my society, in my community? But also, what problems am I okay with dealing with as the flip side of that? You can't ask for or try and manifest a huge house without also being aware that of the problems you're going to have once you get a house over a certain size. And that's just a material thing, but I use that because that helps people understand exactly what I'm talking about when it comes to problems. With every goal you have, with every level you try to move up, there's going to be new problems associated with that level. And as long as you're okay with dealing with those type of problems, even if you haven't experienced them yet, so you don't know how to solve them, but you're okay with being faced with that challenge of learning how to solve these new problems that arise and not dealing with the same problems that you've had before, that's when you're going to start to really be able to pick what you want to do, where you want to go, what you want to achieve, what goals you want to accomplish. But so long as you are dependent on somebody outside of yourself holding you accountable, somebody outside of yourself telling you what to do, what your day-to-day is going to look like, you're not going to take the steps that you need to reach that step. You have to figure out where your self-accountability starts to fall off, and start to really train that accountability muscle. If you want to start working out, you can't listen to all the excuses in your head that are going to come up as to why today's not a good day, why you don't have to go. Obviously, if you're tired, you've been working a lot, rest is still important. And these are those inner demons that arise when you're not constantly challenging yourself, constantly doing hard things. You'll find your brain will create all the reasons in the world why you shouldn't do something, why it's not the right time, basically to keep you in the same mode that you've been going, because your brain and body have already automated the way that you currently have been. And if the way you currently have been is not getting you towards your goals, you need to change something. And making that change is going to shock your brain, shock your body, shock your nervous system, because your body's like, brain's like, we haven't been doing this. What's going on? But as you continue to maintain momentum in that direction, keep doing the things that your ideal self would be doing, you're going to reinforce those habits, reinforce those brain connections. But it takes you first acknowledging, like, okay, the reason I don't go after my goals, I don't push myself to do more, is because I'm scared of what that's going to look like. I'm scared of what's going to happen when I get to that next level. I'm scared I might not be competent enough to handle the pressures of reaching that next level. Being honest with yourself and really calling out, like, okay, what is it that I'm really scared of? Who am I waiting for? Am I waiting for my parents to give me permission? Am I waiting to find some mentor so they can give me permission? Am I waiting for someone online to give me permission for this new idea I've been desperately wanting to do? Why am I doing that? Why am I giving them the power over my life? And when you start to reframe things that way, you start to realize part of the reason you don't feel as energized to do it is because you're giving your power away to all these people, and you're putting yourself depending on the support of one person, the stamp of approval from another person, when really you've externalized what I believe is you wanting that from your higher self. And you haven't met your higher self yet. You haven't met the best version of yourself yet. And as much as I believe we have this drive to become the best version of ourselves, especially if you're watching this video, you must have that drive, or you probably wouldn't have gotten this far in the video. But we have that drive to meet our higher selves, to surpass what we think our higher selves are capable of. We also need that feedback. And so to know that we're on the right track, to know that we're getting the right results. But I think instead of looking towards other people, waiting for someone to give you permission, waiting for someone to tell you, yep, you're doing the right things. And part of that you'll learn as you go. But instead of waiting for someone and being crippled by overthinking, trying to plan to perfection, trying to do all these things to ensure you don't fail, to ensure you are successful, instead, what I'm saying is we need to go back to the drawing board. Who do you want to be? What do you want to do? What kind of impact, if any, do you want to have? If you would like to be doing video games all day, every day, fine. But also, how can you make money doing that? How can you turn that into a living? So you're not just in your parents' basement playing video games, wasting your life. How can you teach other people and help other people in your community that are also interested in video games? If you want to start a business, okay. Business, that's a little bit harder because there is a learning curve there. And I do think it is helpful to hear from people that are experienced in business and take their advice on this is what's worked. And with YouTube, there's so much great business education out there. You do have to be mindful of who you listen to, but the Hormozis, Ed Milet, Tom Bilyeu, Bedros Keuilian, there's quite a few people that you can listen to their content. They have the success behind them, and they'll teach you what they know outside of paying for coaching, paying for whatever they offer. You can learn stuff to help you on your way. But if you want to start the business, you just got to start the business. Figure out what your business idea is, come up with a plan, and start executing towards that. Do you need to find vendors? Do you need to create service listings? Do you need to create a website? What do you need to do? And do it. That's really all it comes down to. Because the ideal version of you that has the thriving business, they had to do the things to get to the point where they're thriving. They had to do something. And so you have to do all those things to make sure you get to the point where you're your ideal person. And the more things you check off your to-do list that will get you to your goal, the closer you're going to get to your goal. So it's not enough to just say, my goal is to make $1 million. Okay, your goal is to make $1 million. How are you going to make that $1 million? Are you going to have a business? Or are you going to get into deal making? Are you going to go into sales and work for somebody where you have $1 million? So let's say you like, I want to have a business where my take home income after investing into the business is $1 million. Well, from saying I want $1 million to being specific and saying I want to have a take-home income from a business of $1 million after reinvesting into the business. Those are two totally different statements, and one gives you a better idea of the actions you'll probably need to take to get to that goal. So now you know, okay, you want take-home income of $1 million from a business. So we need to start a business and make sure we're in a growing marketplace, but we also differentiate ourselves so that we are solving unique problems in the unique way that we do, that people want to pay for what we have to offer. And sometimes it's not even that complicated. Maybe you've always liked high quality decor, but finding a business where you can get a certain aesthetic is difficult for you. So you could create a business where you do the legwork of curating home decor items of a certain aesthetic and create a website where you sell that to people that are also looking for that aesthetic. Now, the real work is going to be done with finding the vendors that have decor items of that aesthetic and how you're going to get product to customer. So are you going to have contracts with them so that when you get an order, they automatically fulfill it, some similar like to what Amazon does? Are you going to need to keep your own stock because you're doing something really boutique and you want to change your inventory every few months after you sell out? These are the things that you have to decide before you can have the business. So you need to establish what the business is first, do the legwork, do the manual work for getting the contracts with the vendors, setting up the website, whatever you need to do to get the ball rolling, and then just being consistent with increasing your brand awareness. And that's just for, in the example, you want to start a business and that's how you want to reach your goal. And the more specific you are with your goal, the easier it becomes to understand what you need to do. So if we change our goal to, I want a take home of $1 million from a business, you can now refine that more and say, I want a successful, self-sufficient business where I don't have to work every day to keep the business running, and I can also take home $1 million a month as my personal salary from the business. That was incredibly specific. So now I also know that I need to get my business to a point where it's self-sufficient, it can run on its own. I don't necessarily have to be there day to day to make sure the business fully functions. You're still going to have to be the visionary unless you hire somebody to do that or sell the business. There's still certain things you're going to have to do, but you won't have to be at that point where every function of the business relies on you. You can have built a small team around you. You can outsource anything. You'll be able to get to a point where customer makes contact, product or service ordered or bought, fulfilled, customer happy, and repeat. You can get to that point, but the more specific your goal is, the more you have a better idea of what it's going to take and what you're going to need to do to reach that goal. So instead of waiting for permission, waiting for validation, you need to understand that part of that comes from, that's just how you probably were raised. That's just the way we learned to be for so long, growing up from childhood, going into school. You know, there was always someone to hold you accountable, literally until you were on your own. So part of the reason you're waiting is just because you've always had to do that, which is fine. But now you know, so you have a responsibility to do better. So now you're an adult, you can buy alcohol, you can buy tobacco, you can vote. So not that everybody that's an adult should be doing those things, and that's just a whole other video, but now you're an adult. And so now it's up to you. You have control. You are holding the reins. You have to decide, what do I want my day to look like? What kind of things will I enjoy doing, even if it sucks? Even if that wasn't the most exciting part of my day, I would still do it because this is part of the life that I want to live. What kind of work do I want to be doing? Do I want to be making videos for YouTube? Do I want to be on sales calls? Do I want to be building something? Do I want to be developing software? Do I want to be consulting for other businesses? What is it that you want to do? What kind of things are you okay doing as a part of doing what you want to do? If you want to be doing sales calls, are you okay for being on the phone all the time, talking to people all the time? Because you're going to have to do that if you're going to do sales for a business, constantly be talking to people, constantly trying to close people that are interested in whatever business you're working for has to offer. Are you going to be okay with working long hours if that's what your goals call for? Are you going to be okay with not doing certain things because the amount of dedication and commitment that your goals call for? Are you going to be okay with distancing yourself from people, places, and things that are not helping you reach your goal? Are you going to be okay with the sacrifice that is required to achieve your goal? Are you going to be okay with maybe having to work a full-time job and work towards your goals until your goals are paying you more than your current job? Those are the questions you have to ask. Those are the questions you have to think about. And no one can answer that besides you. There's no YouTube video that you're going to watch. There's no podcast that you're going to listen to. There's no book that you're going to read that's going to give you the answers to that question. Only you can decide. And people can give you frameworks that have worked for them, that have helped them reach these decisions. They can show you the tools that they use to make where they're at in life easier. But it all starts and ends with you, because it's your life to live at the end of the day. No one's going to live that life but you. And so you have to decide, what do I want to do? What am I willing to do? And these are hard questions to ask, especially if you don't have any emotional control. Because so far, if you've been stagnant, your emotions, your fear, your anxiety, your uncertainty, that's been ruling your life up until this point. So part of the biggest hurdle is getting over being ruled by your emotions, over developing that emotional control, understanding that I have these emotions, but they're fleeting, and I don't have to let my emotions dictate my action. Taking that abstract idea and putting that into practice and making it an internal understanding, that's where the real work is done. Point that I'm making is that you're not going to find your life's purpose, your passion. You're not going to create your ideal life just watching YouTube videos, just listening to podcasts, just reading books. You're going to have to do something to make that a reality. So if you want to be a YouTuber, that's going to require recording videos, editing those videos, and posting those videos. You want success faster? You got to get more reps in. That's literally it. It doesn't matter how you feel. It doesn't matter what you think about anything. It doesn't matter that your stomach hurts. It doesn't matter that you have a headache. It doesn't matter that you're tired. I am exhausted. And after I record this video, I'm damn sure going to take a nap. But this was on my mind, and I'm like, you know what? I need to record this video. But one of my goals is to have a successful YouTube channel. And so that's what I mean, where no matter what, separate from how you may feel, separate from what you may be going through or what's happening in your life, certain goals require that certain actions be done over the course of a certain time period. And that's just, there's a lot you learn about how to perfect your craft, a lot you learn about yourself in that pursuit, a lot you learn about just what fills you up, inspires you, and all of that in that pursuit of meeting your higher self, meeting the best version of yourself. But there's still things that you're gonna have to do. There's still things that no matter what day it is, no matter how you feel, these things are always gonna need to be done. Now it's up to you to decide to make that decision, like, I'm not gonna work on it today, or I'm only gonna give this much today. But at the end of the day, it's up to you to do what needs to be done. No one's gonna do the work but you. And as Alex Hormozy says, sometimes the work just needs doing. Sometimes you just need to build the website. Sometimes you just need to record the video. Sometimes you just need to do the outreach. You just need to send the email. It just has to get done. You have to understand that in order to reach your goals, there are certain actions that will literally just be a requirement. How can you have a YouTube channel if you don't record videos? How does that make sense? There's no YouTube channel. So some things are just that cut and dry. And I feel as though when your emotions get in the way and you don't feel like it today because you didn't have this, you didn't work out, you didn't do your 10,000 steps the day before. There's a lot of stuff that you can do that, and taking care of yourself and your mental well-being is all important. But at the same time, you're going to have to also build a structure so you can get what you need to get done. So if you like to journal in the morning and you feel like that sets you up for success for the day and you're able to accomplish your goals, journal in the morning. But if you journal in the morning and by the time you're done journaling, you're just ready to take a nap, eat and take a nap, maybe save journaling for the night before you go to bed since you're going to go to sleep anyway. And so it's not about just throwing away the things that you know have worked for you. It's about creating a routine that optimizes your performance and then later on your success. So journaling is great. Point of the story, the moral of the story is, if you want to achieve your goals and experience certain things, there's going to be certain things that just have to be done. And you can't let your emotions, you can't let your temporary feelings dictate whether or not you reach that goal, because you're not willing to do the things even if it sucks. In future videos, I definitely do want to talk about, how to do things even if it sucks, how to really think about what it means to create the life that you want to live, to plan your day-to-day, to really reach for certain goals. I do want to do another video really diving deep into that. But with this video, I want to challenge you to ask those important questions so you can really start moving the needle and moving towards your goal. So who are you? Whose permission are you waiting for? Whose validation are you waiting for? What are you afraid of that's stopping you? What would you like your day-to-day to look like? What problems are you okay with having once you reach that goal or next level? What problems do you want to avoid? What sucky things are you willing to do as part of achieving this goal, reaching this next level? So definitely ask yourself these questions. And I just really wanted to hop on here and really share that was on my heart today. But that's all I have today. Anyway, all that rambling to say thank you for tuning in. I just really wanted to get that off my chest. We have more videos coming. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel so you don't miss anything. And go ahead and drop some comments below. What kind of goals do you want to achieve? Do you have any questions, anything you'd like me to answer or make a video on? Drop it in the comments below. I do read the comments. I look forward to hearing your thoughts and opinions. Is there any feedback you have for me on this video? Anything you want to hear? Anything I need to improve moving forward? Drop it in the comments below. As always, thank you for watching. Thank you for tuning in, and I'll see you in the next one.